at the Miami Hurricanes game where people actually rescued a cat. It was like clinging to like the fascia of the secondary level, and all these people were like trying to make sure, and it fell like 20 feet. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. That was crazy. And
Yeah.
then when
So
the cat fell, everyone started cheering. I didn't know if the cat had died or what had happened.
So I love what the Carolina Panthers done. I thought that was amazing. But I was also like, hey, this cat you probably could have adopted for free would have done it as well. Not to compare the two, but now welcome, Jorge. By the way, thank you for jumping in this week on Bourbon Street. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thank you for having me. And I got to say, I'm loving the beer. Hopefully, it's here to stay.
Well, you know what? Ever since you joined us, I've been trying everything I can do to try to be you, the head, the beard. I'm going for my brain transplant next week so I can kind of be on your level somehow, some way. And I think, how many languages do you speak?
Only two. I like to say I'm French speaking as well, but I'm not really a
Oh, your
good
French
French.
is better than mine. So you're 1.5 languages ahead of me. So I have a lot to look up to. But to your point on being relative, how long have you been in Toronto now?
Toronto, I'd been here for 4 years. 4 years,
So
and I did a couple years in Montreal as well.
yeah. So as you well know, TIFF's such a big part of the city. Your first couple of years here, you got to experience the energy. Obviously, last year was different. And so this year, it's kind of coming back a little bit. And I want to talk to you a little bit about Tyrone Tommy, one of the key directors of movies in TIFF, but he also just released, directed some new advertising done by our friends at Humanity around Big Brothers Big Sisters. So let's have a look at that. We're going to kick off Weekly Pulse by talking about TIFF and also the Venice Film Festival.
Adverse childhood experiences can last a lifetime. Let's make sure they don't. Donate now at bigbrothersbigsisters.ca.
The director of this campaign, Tyrone Tommy, is joining us now. Tyrone, welcome to BT.
Thank you for having me.
Powerful stuff. What was it like working on that?
This was a great opportunity for me working with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Canada. I myself am a former little brother. I still know my big brother. I drive his car, a '98 Accord. I've known him since I was 11.
Great relationship.
Yeah, it's been
To trust
great.
any human with your car is a special thing.
I think I always loved it, but I think one of the things I appreciate about it now is just how much of an impact it had on me growing up. I think it's so important that we take these time to speak to our youth and to spend time with them, to be patient with them, and to be consistent. Having someone consistent in your life is so important. And when I look at it now and developing as a young man, I feel like it was strongly important. And I know for like lots of young women and young men growing up, it's important for them to have someone in their life that they can look up to and someone that they can speak to and connect to as well.
Sure.
Yeah, powerful stuff.
Yeah, I was not aware that Tyrone Tommy was a former member of Big Brothers Big Sisters. So powerful, authentic. It's just it gets you right, and it gets the message across about the great work that this organization is doing. So yeah, absolutely love it.
And, when you think about children facing adverse conditions, especially during a time like COVID, and you're right, and I think there's just the power where, you've got somebody who at one point was a little, now, did you hear that correctly? Was he still driving a '98 Accord? Did I hear that properly?
Yeah. That's his big brother's Honda Accord. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting is not only did Tyrone direct these new spots for Big Brothers Big Sisters, but he's got his first feature film in TIFF, and as well he also did a short. So why don't we have a quick look at the two pieces of work that he's got in TIFF, and I'd love to get your perspectives on both Learn to Swim and his draft day video.
You want me, don't make it complicated. I could show you my world if you let me in just for the night. Sit back and relax now. There's nothing wrong with feeling right.
feeling this?
Was it on the charts?
Yeah.
Then yeah, I'm feeling it. Let's take that again. We'll stay on E.
Yeah, Selma, let's take that again. That last line was coming in a bit too sharp.
Why don't you try D?
We're staying on E.
Well, you just tried it. You heard what that got you.
But this tape is live.
It's not real tape, bud.
Mira. Let's take that again.
The players dream of following in the footsteps of those legends. Franchises are counting on them to turn around their fortunes.
With the 13th pick, with the 7th pick, with the 29th pick, with the first pick in the 2014 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of thinking maybe he's going to be driving something newer than a 98 Accord soon.
Yeah, absolutely, and I can't wait to see his movie. I admittedly haven't seen any of his other work, so definitely gotta catch up with that.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting, kind of two ends of the spectrum. On one end, you've got this kind of modern romance related to jazz music and a kind of a more modern approach, and then over here you've got this sort of fan-inspired film around draft day. So tell me this: what do you like better? Are you more of a jazz man or a basketball man?
I'm gonna go with basketball, and I also know that he has a high school football short as well that I gotta catch up on. So yeah, I'm more on the soccer sports side.
Okay, so when you say football, do you mean my football?
No, I meant American football. So,
okay.
Yeah.
What's it called? I want to see it.
I gotta remember the name. I'll get back to you on that one.
All right. Well, we're going to jump to another video because one of the things that I think is kind of interesting is for years, the Venice Film Festival and Toronto Film Festival had a little bit of a kind of friendly rivalry. The Venice Film Festival is actually one of the oldest festivals around. But what's interesting about Venice, and this is kind of something I didn't really realize, is that in the 1600s that Venice actually invented quarantining. When sailors used to come to Venice, they would actually be quarantined to make sure that they weren't bringing illness on shore. The pestilent masks that people wear now at festivals in Venice came from the plague, and doctors used to wear them when they treated people because in those long beaks they had sort of herbs and medicine. So I want to have a quick look at what the Venice Film Festival looks like, and then we're going to flip into what the Toronto National Film Festival looks like this year, because I think it's really an interesting contrast how they both tackled the pandemic.
Di pubblico che intuisce che sono arrivati, perché ripeto non c'è il pubblico schierato come sempre accadeva oltre le transenne, e i fotografi soprattutto che urlano già Timothy e Zendaya. Zendaya è una ex star del Disney Channel, consacrata nella sua... Timothy Chalamet, che avete visto scendere le scale, voi non avete forse questa barriera.
Big year for you, 2021. Yeah. You have 2 films here at TIFF.
And I feel that, the volume of people is growing. It's sad not to be on that street again in quite the heightened way that it usually is. Such a wonderful love-in between fans of cinema and filmmaking.
You have your mask on, you know? I need to wear pants today.
Listen, TIFF is like it's like home for me. It's like a place that I was mostly born. I will say at TIFF, it's a film festival that took great care of me through the years.
As we all know, 18 months or so ago, we all went into this very unsettling lockdown that was so difficult for everyone. It seemed to bring to the surface something that I'd been thinking about ever since the events of this story happened about 50 years ago.
Bringing the festival to you here at the lakeside. So make some noise, flash some lights.
Yes.
So a different year. I'd love your thoughts on, you sort of see Venice, pretty glamorous, but they have these walls with the media and then spectators on the other side. And then Toronto sort of muted, but also has this sort of spontaneous combustion. What were those guys doing on the floor?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I miss the buzz that TIFF brings to the city. I had a chance to work with RBC on TIFF for a couple of years, and I just miss being part of, big parties, events, packed streets, packed movie screenings. And now you have this year a very muffled event, which doesn't feel like a glamorous film festival. I think the glamour is more on the Venice one this year. But again, what the hell were those walls separating people? Why are you going to have people at the venue or at the event if they can't even see? The ladies are very mixed in different parts of the country. And while I think, TIFF is doing a great job trying to do a lot of virtual events for moviegoers and people that want to follow the festival, but it just doesn't feel the same like it did before. So looking forward to the festival next year as well. I know that the festival this year is culminating tomorrow. So a huge dichotomy between those two events.
Yeah, but obviously, look, lots of challenges. I actually like the drive-in concept. As a kid who grew up in really drive-in movies to me were just a big part. And I think as I would love to see that element, for example, continue on as you go forward. Although I will be blunt, the only drive-in movie that I went to during COVID, we were 20 minutes in the movie and a thunderstorm hit. And especially for me with a convertible roof, that kind of ruined the experience. But hey, my hair needs to grow somehow, so maybe a little watering will help.
Yeah, I've never been to a drive-in theater, and I had a chance to work with Cineplex as well a couple of years. And I'm big movie fan, so really a big fan of TIFF, these festivals. Just not the same for me. It's more about the going to the theater experience.
100%. So we have a lot to cover off this week on Sponsored by Bourbon Street. I want to go to, I know they're your favorite soccer club in the whole world, to WREXHAM.
Yeah, I had no idea who these guys were until Ryan Reynolds jumped on it. It seems like famous people are just getting into sports. You have Will Ferrell in LA. You have David Beckham in Miami. It's in Miami. And then you have Ryan Reynolds in Wales. Which, I mean, it brings a lot of great things to the sport. New partners, new vibe to it. They're getting into a riff with Ted Lasso, which is fantastic. So I think they're bringing a lot of great things to the sport, a lot of money, and hopefully this team can move up the ranks and become, a more contending team in the leagues in the UK.
Although I don't think they want to be. And, just for context, WREXHAM plays in the 5th tier. I think it's called the National League. They are the oldest professional soccer association club in the world, and they just got into FIFA 2022. So let's have a look at this clip and figure out where the heck is WREXHAM.
Our first full season as WREXHAM owners has begun, yet many people still don't know where Wales is.
That's right, Rob. So we're here with a little geography lesson.
Now, many people think that Wales is in England. It is not, Ryan. It's in a region known as Rest of World.
Rest of World is an important geographic area known for its random assortment of cultures, climates, and football clubs.
There are many activities such as selecting teams, selecting jerseys, and talking.
Oh, I like that last one myself. If you're planning on visiting Rest of World, please consider visiting WREXHAM. It's a proud team honored to be in FIFA 22.
Even if it is in Rest of World.
Right? What the fuck is Rest of World? It's not even a...
Pretty sure they're the only National League club with a global sponsor like TikTok and now in FIFA. But thinking of global, I want to get your thoughts on the NFL. NFL is now looking at expanding the international market. So you think about, your football is truly the global sport. And now the NFL is actually looking at taking teams and giving them a chance to expand beyond their 75-mile trading radius to actually adopt international markets. So think of Buffalo and Toronto, think of the Seahawks in Vancouver, think of Dallas and Mexico. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a great idea to continue monetizing the league. I mean, just thinking about Mexico, there's about 45 million NFL fans. So it'd be very attractive for some of these teams to have exclusive access to these market cities across the world. I think it's China, Brazil, London, Mexico, and there's a couple that are escaping me right now that they're looking into right now. But this could be something that you take globally and continues monetizing channel for the teams, getting local deals, local partnerships, and just continue growing the fan base. I think it's a good idea. I know that the league has been planning on this for a couple of years, so really looking forward to seeing this taking shape.
Okay, so not trying to trip you up, but like since you're from Mexico, I want to ask you a question. What game is called the Mexican Super Bowl, in quotes, every year? Or not every year. When these two teams play, they don't play every year. It is, in quotes, called the Mexican Super Bowl. Come on, buddy. Don't let me down.
Oh, my God. I don't know. I haven't. The Texas teams?
Dallas versus Pittsburgh. It's the Mexican Super Bowl. There you go.
Yeah. Pittsburgh's pretty famous in Mexico, and we've had the Raiders also in Mexico quite a few times. So, yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for the teams to go into the international market.
You know you can always count on me for useless Pittsburgh Steelers trivia. Like, how boring a party guest I must be. Okay, so now let's go back to another mixed reality. I want to get your thoughts on how Kroger did this activation with the Houston Texans.
That is one impressive track. Get set, go! Now the Black will sneak into the lead. The red card making its move through the fire rings. And the winner is the white car wins. Upper level, you have the winning cart.
Okay, your thoughts. That might be the oldest activation ever.
Sorry, what was that?
You go ahead. Go for it.
No. I think this is a great idea. I mean, we're trying to, as sponsor strategies, we're always trying to get properties to think differently about what assets are they creating, how are they improving the experience for their fans. So I think this is a great idea of bringing in new technologies, something that we've done or seen before, but it seems like now it's a little bit more integrated within the game. I love it. I think it's a great opportunity for brands to jump on it and really, own something different that creates a lot of buzz online. I've seen these kind of, we saw it at the beginning of the video. We see it now with Kroger in a brand integration. It's the same brand or the same company that's creating these two integrations for different teams in the NFL. But this is just the beginning. I can't wait to see where the technology goes and evolves and how brands are jumping into it.
And if you think about it, like Facebook's gone all in on the metaverse because that's how they feel they can combat Apple. So talking about technology, I know you love drone racing. So I want to hear your thoughts on this $100 million deal, title sponsored with Algorand, the blockchain deal. Go ahead. Don't hold back.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I don't know if the drone racing league is big enough to deserve $100 million. That
was going to be my question. Why is it $100 million?
It's a ton, but I think it has to do with a lot more than just ownership of the naming rights, the technology, the blockchain technology. I'm not an expert by any means, but there's some integrations that can be happening within drone racing. Think about AWS partnership with Formula One and how they're elevating the data to give consumers a different experience. Now, I want to flip this on its head a little bit and talk more about crypto and the deals that we've seen in the few past months. It really reminds me of DraftKings and FanDuel and all these fantasy sports about 5 or 6 years ago, where they were just jumping at any sponsorship opportunity they had. And we had tons of deals happening in a very short period of time, huge deals. And some of those companies are not longer around with us. If we look at crypto alone, crypto.com, one of the biggest ones investing in the space, just closed a deal with Formula One, with UFC, and they closed the biggest deal in UFC's history at $175 million. Could you guess what the second biggest deal is that they have?
I don't know. This one?
It's with DraftKings. No, this one's the biggest one.
Yeah,
and second one's DraftKings. So, they're following a trend. They also have a deal with Italy's Serie A league, the Montreal Canadiens. And then you have, I believe it's FTX, another crypto brand that just closed naming rights of the FTX Arena for Miami Heat, and TSM, which is an esports team, and they paid $210 million for naming rights of a league where they can't even use the name on a couple of their biggest teams. So it's just a cautionary tale for properties taking crypto dollars, just thinking about how are you actually integrating these companies within your ecosystem and help them be successful, because some of these fantasy properties that we're investing heavily are no longer around with us. So if you're really going to engage with a brand for 10 years, let's make sure that you have a proper and sound strategy and you're delivering value so you can help them survive as well. So it's as much on the property side as it on the brands to execute on these deals.
I'm going to check back in with you on that one in 2 years. Quickly, your viewpoint on the Man U signing Cristiano Ronaldo. Is this going to be more financially beneficial for them than it was for Juventus, or mixed, or the same, or higher? What quick thoughts? 30 seconds.
I think it is. The team is a little bit bigger. Cristiano is going to be bringing in a lot of new sponsors, a lot of demand for new sponsors. He's just such a superstar, and we all talk about merch sales as the kind of first benchmark.
Speaking of merch sales, because he's a Nike guy and he's wearing the Addy, and they just switched him to number 7. So if you're Nike, how do you reconcile that?
No, that's a good point. But for Adidas, they just broke shirt sales records, right? So the deal's going to be higher for Adidas. Sponsorship on the kit is going to be more expensive. So from a Man United perspective, they're going to be racking in a lot of new dollars from this deal. And it's just 2 deals, 2 years. So we'll have our answer pretty soon.
Okay, so this is a 23-year deal just announced today. Intuit's the title sponsor of the LA Clippers. I want you to answer one very specific question for me. Why 23 years?
That's a good question. I think it's a brand that's here to stay, and they're just capitalizing on the fact that they can get in cheap. We've seen deals skyrocket, and the more we see deals, we saw the Scotiabank Arena, and whenever that's done, there's going to be a higher bidding price for that. So I think securing a long-term deal for a naming rights venue, it's a great strategy. You just ensuring that you're.
But why 23? Why not 20? Why not 25? Give me an answer. Why 23?
I think they wanted to. I think their deal is about $500 million. So math just worked out for 23.
I was thinking, who wears 23 in the Clippers? It was the old Bulls. I get it. It's the Michael Jordan deal. But one more question for you about NBA. The WNBA last year ran a midseason tournament. The winning team got $30,000 per player. NBA is talking about doing it. Of course, in sports, money is sexist, so it's $1 million per player, which is kind of gross. It's not embarrassing. But one word answer, yes or no. Are you in favor of a mid-season NBA tournament?
Yes. And I'll say just quickly, it happens in other sports internationally. We have these mid-season tournaments and other side tournaments. So it's good to see one of the big 4 leagues getting into something different than just the traditional league. What about you? Yes or no?
Yes. That was a one-word answer, by the way, which you did not provide. Okay, now let's switch Monday, holiday, or election day. And I want to ask you a really personal question because you are not a Canadian resident. So let's take a look down under at how New Zealand treats non-citizens during elections. And I want to get some personal thoughts from you.
Do you want your voice to count, to be a part of something important? It's easy. Enroll to vote to have your say in New Zealand's future. If you enroll early, voting will be faster and easier on the day. You can enroll to vote in New Zealand if you're 18 or over and you're a New Zealand citizen or permanent resident. And you've lived in New Zealand continuously for 12 months or more at some time in your life. Once you're on the electoral roll, you can vote in parliamentary elections, local elections, and referendums. This is how your voice gets heard.
So just interesting, and New Zealand's one of the most inclusive places in the world. How long have you lived in Canada?
I've been here 7 years.
And can you vote in a city election, provincial election, or a federal election?
Can't vote at all. So it's,
Tell me how it makes you feel.
It's a third of my life been living in almost a third of my life living in Canada.
You're 21?
No, a fourth of my life. I'm going in on 8 years.
You're 21. This show has an age limit. I'm not allowed to have minors on my show.
That's funny. No, a fourth of my life. But anyway, I think, I pay taxes. I've been here. I plan on staying here. I'm, buying property here. So I feel like I should be able to make a decision on where my dollars are being spent. Maybe not at a federal level, and I get that. I think if you want to have a great discussion, bring this topic to a party. You will never have people agreeing with you. I think there's just too many opinions. I do think a midpoint would be a great balancing act for the government, where residents that have a long-standing resident status in the country. I've been a resident for almost 3.5 years. Just like in New Zealand, you can have maybe access to local elections. So you locally can be represented within your communities. Canada's a multicultural country, and there's communities that have high numbers, hundreds of thousands of people that are residents, and their voices are just not being heard. They're not being represented, while their dollars count the same when it comes to taxes. So I think
let's dimensionalize this. There are 1.3 million adults living in Toronto who are not born here that have moved this city in the last decade. I have no idea. Think about the magnitude. So don't you think it's time to maybe redefine what citizenship means?
I think so, but at the same time, I think it'll be a controversial topic. It's not something you can spur that idea and make changes. I know that there have been some conversations in the government about it, but it'll be a tough one to get everyone to agree with it. So my personal opinion, maybe not federal, definitely local.
Okay, well, apologize that you can't vote. What I will say to all of my fellow Canadian citizens, please get out and vote. I, for the first time ever, went to an early polling station, was flabbergasted how efficient it was. Yes, the line was long, but it moved really well. And I think we should all say a kind thank you to our polling station and election workers, because this has been one of the most sort of troublesome year around elections, with bizarre protests and gravel throwing. And so those people are standing up for democracy. So I'd ask you to vote and thank the people at the polling stations. So with that, I want to thank you, Jorge, for joining us this week on Bourbon Street. We're going to close with something that's very near and dear to my heart. Many of you know that myself and many of my industry friends created a coalition called the Black Talent Initiative. We're trying to tackle systemic racism. This week, we announced an amazing new deal with Labatt. So albeit a bit self-serving, I'm in this video. I just want to close with this. And Jorge?
Thank you for having me, Mark.
See you, buddy.
My name is Tristan Reed, and I am the programs lead for the Black Talent Initiative.
And my name is Mark Harrison, and I have the distinct honor of being the founder of the Black Talent Initiative.
I'm Lisa. I lead the vision team at BTI.
We chose to partner the Black Talent Initiative with Labatt because of their commitment to a fully integrated relationship.
To continue building our community and network.
Talent both locally, nationally, and even internationally.
From every nook and cranny across this country.
We want to make sure that you are getting seen, getting heard, and being able to apply for the jobs that you've always wanted.
Create opportunity for folks who are seeking new directions in their careers or just starting out.
Our first major project with Labatt is to find you. You're what we're looking for. We're looking for Black talent to come through the door and make sure that they have an opportunity to thrive and succeed. So right now, that's what our big project is. You.